I got quite a few on this day. I got on this day back on it. Today is the 20th of April. ECW Hostile City Showdown from 1996, which was apparently the first time that Sabu and Rob Van Dam ever faced each other, and caused ECW to get taken off most networks for...
Why? What happened?
Well, apparently there was like a lesbian kiss in the main event.
Yeah.
And Tommy Dreamer's girlfriend at the time told him that she was pregnant, and then Shane Douglas was like, "Oh no, she's not pregnant. She's just cheating on you." And Tommy Dreamer's like, "Oh, who would?" And then it turns out to be another woman, and then they make out, and then Tommy Dreamer apparently says, "I'm hardcore. I'll take you both," and then he just makes out with both of them.
ECW was such a soap opera. it really was. I mean, there was so much of that stuff going on.
The most interesting point about this to me is that this was April 1996.
Yeah.
So this was way before Attitude Era or anything like that.
Oh yeah, they were doing tons of stuff like that before shows were. You say it was the first Sabu RVD match?
Yeah, first time they ever faced each other on television.
Yeah, I mean that's considered like the biggest rivalry of ECW all time.
So that's an important on this day.
Who won it? Do you know who won it?
Rob Van Dam, I think.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then we jump to Nitro, 1998. Hulk Hogan beat Randy Savage for the World Championship in a no disqualification match, and Goldberg beat Raven for 4 minutes for the US title. And over the course of 2 hours, there was 11 matches on this card.
Wow, onto the Nitro.
Yeah, on a Nitro.
Wow.
No idea how.
There must have been a few squash matches.
Yeah, well, I would assume that...
He is squash matches, isn't he?
I assume that nobody went past 4 or 5 minutes. But Hogan Savage was 16 minutes. And then apparently this was the big blow-off, and then they faced each other on pay-per-view the next month, which really sums up the problem with WCW. We could give it away for free in a no disqualification.
Yeah, they gave everything away for free, didn't they?
Yeah, have a title swap, and then we're advertised the rematch on pay-per-view. Anyway, go back a year, 1997. The only pay-per-view that I can see was In Your House 14 Revenge of the Taker.
I think I've watched this.
Well, it's interesting for a couple of reasons. It was the rematch of Bret versus Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13. Apparently, they had a great match. Obviously, nowhere near WrestleMania level. This was also Mankind versus The Undertaker. And apparently, Mankind was originally supposed to light a fireball at Taker's face. So we're in good 1997 depths of wrestling here. So that Undertaker could push Paul Bearer in the way to get hit by the fireball, which would cause Paul Bearer to go off TV and eventually bring back Kane. That was the Kane debut, from Undertaker pushing Paul Bearer in the way to take the fireball for him. But apparently, Mick Foley couldn't light it. And after a couple of minutes, Taker basically pushed Mick Foley out of the way, lit the fireball for him, and just shoved it in Paul Bearer's face. So the whole idea of pushing him in the way and causing this like slight intrigue. At the end of the 25-minute match, after beating the shit out of each other,
completely turns on Paul Bearer.
Yeah, he's just like, "Yo, you got a fireball? I'll throw it at Paul Bearer." And that was that.
But at the time, it was just no reason for it. It would have made no sense.
No, not at all.
Fantastic.
I
mean, you know I love Mick Foley, but that is definitely not the first time he's made like such a mistake. They have to change the whole story.
I don't know. I think live on pay-per-view, I think I'd struggle to light a fucking fireball into somebody's face.
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
I mean, it was a thing way before in the late 90s. They were doing it back in the 70s and 80s. So
it's such a strange wrestling-only gimmick, isn't it? Throwing a fireball in somebody's face.
Well, you never get to see it in a cage match.
Why not?
Well, why not?
Well, why not? Why not?
Be interesting, wouldn't it?
You sound like Jim Cornette now. Well, why not?
I'm not against fireballs. I think we should bring them back.
Well, what are you talking about? Fireball in a cage?
No, I mean like in cage fighting, MMA. You're
Oh,
not
right.
gonna see.
I just thought you had this like specific rule of no fireballs at a cage match.
Well, just in case the fire catches and you can't
All
get
right.
out.
Anyway, moving on. There was an Impact from 2011 in which Gunner beat Christopher Daniels.
Oh,
Crimson
fantastic!
Crimson and Samoa Joe went to a non-finish. Sting beat Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson. And then I don't know whether it's my getting old or wrestling getting more boring, but there was a couple of more Impacts and a couple of more Raws from like 2011 onwards in which I read through the results and I said, should I put this on the podcast? There's nothing of interest. Like Raw from 2015, Seth Rollins beat Dolph Ziggler in the main event.
Okay, that's not interesting.
It was 5 years ago, though. And finally, I found a Shikara pay-per-view from 2008 called Passion and Persistence. And I want you to play a game with me of name the wrestler. Some are extremely easier and some are quite hard. So first of all, there was Brody Lee versus Claudio Castagnoli.
Yeah.
Who's that?
That's Luke Harper versus Cesaro.
Okay. Jimmy Olsen, who I don't know and never really did anything outside of Shikara, versus Player Uno.
Player Uno is in AEW now. He's part of
Dark Order.
Yeah, I don't really like him. I don't follow the story that much.
Evil Uno, yeah. And then these ones are really weird and impossible, I think.
Okay.
Helios defeated Amasis. So Amasis was just another Shikara regular. Helios is somebody you've watched quite a lot and has been mentioned on this podcast today.
Oh, I don't know.
Ricochet.
Okay. Ricochet's gone under a lot of names.
Why Helios?
Was he wearing a mask or was he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a lot of that kind of stuff.
The most interesting one to me was two dudes, Bull Payne and Vin Gerard or something, versus Fire and Soldier Ant in the opening match.
Yeah.
Do you know who these guys are?
I know the Ant gimmick. I've seen them. I think
So what is it?
In Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
So what is this thing?
It's like a family of people that wear masks, and they're like a massive stable across a few different companies.
Okay, so it was like a masked collective.
Yeah. And
they're like masked colony. That like who's Queen Ant?
I don't know it that well.
But there must be like a Queen Ant, right? Like a
Rey
Mysterio sitting on the mountain of dirt.
Why did the match take your? Why did it interest
you? Sorry. Fire Ant is Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Teaming with Soldier Ant, who is Drew Gulak.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And do you know whose birthday it is today?
No, I don't.
Two very famous wrestling personalities.
Jim Ross?
No. Happy birthday to Relic, the Killer Backwards TNA guy, who I found out won 2 of his 32 matches during his period of TNA.
That's a good record.
Yeah, and I actually sat and looked that up,
Hall of Fame record, that is.
And the other birthday is the son of a very famous man.
Ric Flair?
Garrett Bischoff.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Garrett Bischoff.
Where's he now? I feel like should be somewhere.
His last match was in 2013 for an indie promotion, and that was his first match since Impact. So
that's a long time ago.
He's living on his dad's farm, I'm sure. And that's that. Apart from, I found out today, Chyna and Rick Rude died on the same day, about 20 years apart.
Oh, well, that's a sad note to leave it on.
And 2 members of DX at one point.
Was there no WrestleManias this late into April? Or was it too late?
No. In Your House 14 was the closest. That was basically the WrestleMania Revenge rematches pay-per-view.
Right.
Not too interesting as on this day, but a lot more shows than usual. Busy day.